Recently, I found a pretty unique way to help hide layer lines on printed miniatures. This is called top coat, and it's mainly used for cosmetic nails, but it also helps cover up any visible layer lines on a printed model. In this video, I'm going to test out what I call the Goop method, and we're just going to see how well this works, and if it's worth it. Alright, so let's talk about the Goop method. I've seen this process recommended in comments and forum posts, and it also works similar to other existing products on the market, especially those epoxy brush-ons. Whenever we 3D print a miniature with a regular old FDM printer, we still have visible layer lines no matter how small the print height was.
All the lines.
These lines become more visible when certain watery paints are applied, like contrasts and washes. This is where the Goop comes in. The top coat is going to fill in all the crevices made by the layer lines. That way, when we apply primer and paint the area, it'll look smoother, making less visible layer lines to the eye. You have to be careful, however, because you can easily overdo it and fill in details with the Goop. This stuff is easy to find and is pretty cheap. You can find it in pretty much any drugstore or supermarket. Heck, I bet you could steal some from your girlfriend, wife, or family member. Just don't let them know. Alright, for the test model for this exercise, I decided to use this cloaked person, designed by Bright Minis. This model will be perfect for this exercise because it's pretty low detail in terms of crevices, and the smooth road portions will also show layer lines pretty well, especially when reflecting in the light. Since you gotta be careful not to fill in detailed crevices, this cloaked person will be perfect for Goop application. Now, these little dudes took no time to print. Each miniature took about an hour and 25 minutes when printing at a 0.06 layer height with a 0.2 nozzle. And in terms of material cost, each of these minis only cost me 5 cents. Now that we got these little dudes printed up, let's start gooping. Thankfully, clear coat usually comes with a brush applicator, which is nice because this stuff is nasty. So I'm just being extra careful to spread this around. It dries pretty quickly, so if you try to brush over an area twice, it may look a little wonky. More on that later. You're just trying to brush a coat over all the main areas, and we're going to leave the face alone just not to muck up any details. The Goop test is not complete until we get these little dudes painted up and see how visible those layer lines are now. I'm going to prime these dudes up in black, and then give them a nice zenithal highlight so we can slap down some contrast paints on them. Usually, wet paints like contrast or washes make layer lines even more visible, since they usually accumulate into the layer crevices. So we're going to use contrast paints as a way to better highlight the visible and non-visible lines.
That's called a montage. Even Rocky had a montage.
Alright, now that these little dudes are painted up, let's check out the progress and compare the two. Here we have the Goop model on the right and the regular model on the left. You can easily tell the layer lines are less visible on the Goop model, especially when you rotate them in the light. The contrast paints did a great job of making the lines more visible, and the Goop did its job by filling in those visible lines. Now, I do want to note the little Goop mistake I made here. I accidentally got a little crazy applying the Goop, and may have went over this area twice, or I didn't smooth it out enough and I allowed it to build up. It's not the worst looking mistake, and you only catch it in the light reflection, which makes this just another happy little accident. I thought the Goop model turned out great. The lines were less visible, and the smooth cloak areas looked even smoother. I feel like top coat was a little hard to work with, but it's incredibly cheap and easy to find. I felt like this was a great product if you're looking for a post-processing for your 3D print, but on a budget. Once I get a little more practice with this, I'm sure I can get it to apply to even more detailed models. So, what are your thoughts on this Goop experiment? Have you ever used something like this for post-processing your 3D prints? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to support this channel further, don't hesitate to click those affiliate links down below. And if you made it to this part of the video, I greatly appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.